The front door of my weathered cabin on Lake Superior burst open with a force that rattled the cedar beams, right in the middle of the most critical meeting of my life. No knock, no warning, just this woman, Clara Bennett, charging in like she owned the place, her voice slicing through the quiet with accusations of emergency violations. She had no idea she'd just stormed into a meeting that could unravel her entire scheme. Clara, who'd been terrorizing my quiet neighborhood for months, had just made the fatal mistake of her crooked career. The wildest part? This wasn't random. She knew I was meeting someone important and came to shut it down. The look on her face when she saw who was sitting at my table, pure, unfiltered panic. Let me tell you, this story gets insane, so stick around. I'm not some tough guy hero fresh from a war zone, ready to take on the world. I'm just Ethan Brooks, a guy who spent too many nights in Iraq watching buddies get torn apart by IEDs. Now, sudden loud noises like a car backfiring or a door slamming send my heart racing, trying to claw its way out of my chest. PTSD is like living with a busted smoke alarm in your head, blaring at the worst moments. 9 months ago, my wife, Sarah, decided she couldn't handle being married to someone who flinches at fireworks or freezes in the middle of a grocery store. I don't blame her. The divorce stripped me bare, our house, most of my savings, and worst of all, my time with our 13-year-old daughter, Lily, cut down to every other weekend. Those visits were getting harder, with Lily asking why I always seemed so sad, why I couldn't be normal like her friends' dads. How do you explain to your kid that your brain sometimes feels like a battlefield, even years after the war? The only thing I kept was my grandfather's cabin on Lake Superior, a creaky, 70-year-old refuge he built with his own hands after Vietnam. It wasn't some glossy lakeside mansion, just a sturdy place with a stone fireplace, a sagging dock, and the soothing sound of waves lapping at the shore. It was my sanctuary, the only place where my fractured mind could find peace. I dreamed of Lily and me rebuilding our bond there, fishing off the dock like I did with my granddad. That dream lasted exactly 4 weeks. Then Clara Bennett showed up. It was a chilly November morning in 2024, 6:45 a.m., and I was barely awake when her sharp knock hit like a sniper's shot, triggering every combat instinct I'd tried to bury. I opened the door to find a woman in her early 60s, dressed like she was heading to a boardroom, clutching a clipboard like a weapon. "Mr. Brooks," she said, skipping introductions, "I'm Clara Bennett, president of the Bayside Community Association. We need to address serious violations on your property." Now, something about her tone, gleeful, almost predatory, set my nerves on edge. Normal people don't look thrilled when delivering bad news. Clara did. What rattled me most was how much she knew. Not just my name or address, but my military history, my PTSD, my divorce, even my custody arrangement with Lily. It was like she'd been handed a dossier straight from my nightmares. I later learned Clara used to be a claims adjuster until her license was yanked for fraud. A messy divorce had left her broke, and she'd turned her rage into a twisted game of bending the system to ruin others. She didn't start small. Clara hit me with an emergency lien procedure that could force me to sell the cabin within 30 days. "You're living here illegally," she said, flipping through her clipboard with practiced menace. "Unpermitted structures, code violations, environmental hazards endangering the community." Then came the gut punch. "Does your daughter know her father's a lawbreaker? Unstable veterans raise questions about custody, don't they?" The way she sneered "unstable" made my blood run cold. This wasn't about property codes. This was war, and she'd aimed straight for my deepest fear, that I wasn't fit to be Lily's dad. PTSD makes you doubt yourself on good days. Am I dangerous? Am I failing Lily? Clara knew exactly what buttons to push, smirking as she leaned against my doorframe. "Fight me," she said, "and I'll make sure Lily sees you for what you are, a broken vet who's a danger to her." I wanted to unleash the rage I'd spent years taming in therapy, but my grandfather's voice echoed in my head. "Good men don't back down from bullies, Ethan. Not to fight, but to protect those who can't protect themselves." That night, I dug through the dusty boxes my grandfather left behind. Among old receipts and faded photos, I found a manila envelope with the cabin's original deed from 1958. And there it was, Clara's prized community garden, funded with thousands of association dollars, sprawled 20 feet onto my land. Her association office, a renovated shed, sat entirely on my property. For 3 years, she'd been trespassing while accusing me of violations. The irony felt like a gift from my granddad, but using it would mean all-out war, with Lily caught in the crossfire. Could I protect my daughter without destroying everything my grandfather built? Clara didn't wait to see if I'd back down. Within 48 hours, she filed an emergency court order, citing her fake violations. Then she went for blood, calling Lily's school as a concerned citizen to report unsafe conditions at my cabin, hinting that a veteran with PTSD shouldn't have unsupervised visits with his child. My ex-wife called, her voice trembling. "Ethan, they're saying you might be unstable. Maybe we should pause Lily's visits until you get help." Clara also worked the community like a master manipulator, dropping vague comments at the local diner about that troubled vet by the lake who might not be safe. She never lied outright, she just planted seeds of doubt and let fear do the rest. Within days, neighbors avoided me, parents clutched their kids tighter when I passed. I was a pariah, branded unstable, without a chance to fight back. Then Tom Rivera showed up, a surveyor Clara had used during her first visit. He was a former Marine, mid-40s, with the weary eyes of someone who'd seen too much. "Ethan," he said, sitting on my porch steps, "I owe you the truth. Clara's got me over a barrel $22,000 in back taxes on my business. She promised to make it go away if I fudged your property reports." His voice broke as he admitted to falsifying surveys to create violations. But Tom brought more than a confession. He handed me a folder documenting Clara's other victims: an elderly widow forced to sell her home over fake landscaping fines, a young family foreclosed on after $12,000 in bogus penalties, a mechanic shut down by sudden zoning issues. All vulnerable, all isolated. "She's not crazy," Tom whispered. "She's a predator who knows exactly how to break people." Tom's folder included audio of Clara instructing him to find violations or make them up. He also revealed her secret weapon, her ex-husband, a high-ranking county official who tipped her off about permits and investigations, letting her operate with impunity. But Tom wasn't alone. Other contractors were ready to talk, their consciences finally outweighing their fear. The real turning point came when Lily, my brave 13-year-old, overheard Clara on a phone call outside her school. Recording for a class project, she caught Clara saying, "The daughter's the weak spot. Make the dad look unstable, and the custody issue takes care of itself. Broken vets give up easy." Hearing Clara weaponize my bond with Lily filled me with a cold, focused rage. Lily looked at me that night and said, "Dad, I know you're not dangerous. You're protecting us, right?" She's the scary one. My daughter saw me as her hero, not a broken man, and that changed everything. Enter Laura Hayes, a property law attorney from Duluth who'd lost her own family land to a similar scam. "Ethan," she said, "the state's attorney general is building a case against HOA fraud. Your evidence could spark statewide reform." Laura confirmed the deed proved Clara's garden and office were on my land, a legal slam dunk. But Lily's recording was the knockout punch, elevating Clara's crimes to federal level by targeting a child in a custody dispute. We built a case like a military operation. Financial records showing Clara's $38,000 in embezzled funds, surveillance footage of her coaching fake witnesses, audio of her orchestrating fraud, and Lily's recording tying it all together. Laura called the state attorney general, Margaret Klein, who agreed to meet at my cabin on a crisp Thursday in December 2024. The plan was airtight, but Clara's ex-husband tipped her off about unusual activity in Klein's schedule. Instead of running, Clara decided to double down, planning an emergency inspection to disrupt our meeting. At 2:18 p.m., as Margaret Klein reviewed our evidence, Clara's SUV roared into my driveway. She burst in, shouting about urgent violations, waving fake documents, oblivious to the Attorney General sitting at my table. "I'm Clara Bennett, Bayside Community Association president," she declared, thrusting her clipboard at Klein. "This property's a danger." Klein's voice cut through like ice. "Ms. Bennett, you're the subject of a federal investigation for fraud and racketeering. You've just committed criminal trespass in front of me." Clara's face collapsed, confidence to shock to dread in seconds. Her contractors bolted for the door, and when Tom arrived to testify, He played Clara's own words back. I don't care if it's legal, just make it convincing. Clara's final move was a desperate call to her ex-husband, screaming for a rescue that never came. He'd already turned state's evidence to save himself. Klein read her rights, listing charges: racketeering, fraud, child endangerment, obstruction. As investigators cuffed her, Clara wailed about being harassed, but her empire was crumbling. Her assets were frozen, her association dissolved, her victims freed from fake fines. The community healed, families rebuilt, gardens restored. Lily's school cheered me as a hero, and my custody with her was fully restored. The cabin's now a haven again, filled with Lily's laughter and fishing trips. Clara's illegal office became a community garden bed, a poetic end to her reign. From a federal prison cell, she's got years to think about the family she hurt. Bullies only win when good people stay silent. I didn't. Neither should you. What would you have done in my shoes? Would you risk everything to fight a predator like Clara, or play it safe to protect your family? Could you stay calm hearing someone use your child as a weapon? Drop a comment, hit that like button, and subscribe for more real-life stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Where are you watching from? Let's hear it.